Welcome to Car History for Sleep. Tonight, we'll journey through the remarkable and at times controversial story of Porsche, a brand that began in the chaos of war, one that created some of history's most infamous machines, and yet rose to build the most beloved sports cars the world has ever seen. From the early visions of Ferdinand Porsche to the legendary 911 to the sleek electric Taycan of today, this is the story of Porsche, from war machines to supercars. So lay back, close your eyes if you wish, and let's begin. Our story begins with Ferdinand Porsche, born in 1875 in the Austro-Hungarian Empire. As a boy, Ferdinand was obsessed with mechanics. While other children played with toys, Ferdinand would sneak into electrical shops, tinkering with wires and lights. By the time he was a teenager, he had already built his own electric motor. Unlike many engineers of his time, Ferdinand never earned a formal degree. Instead, he taught himself and quickly gained a reputation as a natural genius. By the turn of the century, the automobile was still in its infancy, but Ferdinand was already ahead of the curve. In 1900, at the Paris World Exhibition, he unveiled the Loaner Porsche electric car, one of the very first vehicles powered entirely by electricity. Even more astonishing, it used hub-mounted motors in the wheels, a concept that modern electric cars are only now rediscovering. This bold invention marked Ferdinand as an innovator. Over the next decades, he worked for companies across Europe, designing engines, race cars, and even early hybrids. His mind was always pushing forward, chasing efficiency, power, and speed. But it was in Germany during the 1930s that his talents and his ambitions would shape history. In 1931, Ferdinand Porsche founded his own company in Stuttgart, Dr. Inge H.C. F. Porsche GmbH. The name was technical, but Ferdinand's vision was clear. He wanted to build cars that were fast, clever, and efficient. One of his first major commissions came from the German government, which sought a people's car, affordable enough for every family. Ferdinand delivered what would become the Volkswagen Beetle. With its simple air-cooled engine and rounded design, the Beetle was a triumph of practicality. Over time, it would sell more than 20 million units worldwide, making it one of the most successful cars ever made. But the 1930s gave way to war. Porsche's company was drawn into the Nazi regime's war machine. They designed military vehicles such as the Kübelwagen, a light transport vehicle based on Beetle engineering, and the Schwimmwagen, an amphibious car capable of driving into rivers. Even more ambitious were Porsche's tank projects. Ferdinand created prototypes for massive armored machines, including the Tiger P, a rival to what became the legendary Tiger I tank. These designs were technically advanced, but often impractical, plagued by reliability issues. Still, Porsche's deep involvement with the Nazi regime left a lasting shadow over the company's legacy. When the war ended in 1945, Germany lay in ruins, and so did Porsche's reputation. Ferdinand himself was arrested by French authorities and imprisoned for over a year, accused of collaborating with the Nazi government. Though he was never formally convicted, the experience left him weakened. Leadership of the company soon passed to his son, Ferry Porsche. It would be Ferry who transformed Porsche's destiny. Post-war Germany was a bleak place, cities destroyed, factories bombed, resources scarce. Yet, out of this rubble, a dream began to take shape. Ferry Porsche, determined to continue his father's vision, decided that the company needed to build its own car. Not a military vehicle, not a government project, but something joyful, something that celebrated driving itself. In 1948, the first true Porsche car was born, the Porsche 356. The earliest examples were hand-built in a tiny sawmill in Gmünd, Austria. The 356 borrowed parts from the Volkswagen Beetle, including its engine, but Ferry and his small team reimagined it. With a lightweight body, rear-engine layout, and superb handling, the 356 was agile and fun in a way few cars of the era could match. It wasn't about brute horsepower. It was about balance, precision, and connection to the road. A car that made driving feel like art. Word spread quickly. By the early 1950s, the 356 was a hit with enthusiasts across Europe. Soon after, it reached the United States, where importers like Max Hoffman introduced Porsche to wealthy clients and racing drivers. The 356's sleek design and nimble handling made it an instant favorite on both the road and the racetrack. This was the foundation of the Porsche legend. By the early 1960s, Ferry Porsche knew the 356 had reached its limits. Porsche needed something new, a car that would take the brand into the future. In 1964, they unveiled it, the Porsche 911. Designed by Ferdinand Porsche, Ferry's son, the 911 was revolutionary. Its long, sloping roofline, round headlights, and rear-mounted flat-six engine created a shape unlike any other car on the road. At first, the 911 was controversial. Critics argued the rear engine layout made it unstable. Journalists described it as difficult to tame. But for those willing to master it, the 911 offered a driving experience like nothing else. It was alive, responsive, and thrilling. Over the decades, the 911 became Porsche's identity. It evolved through countless generations, improving technology and performance while never losing its distinctive silhouette. Even today, more than 60 years later, the 911 remains the heart of Porsche, a rare example of timeless design. It wasn't just a car, it was an icon. Porsche's obsession with performance didn't stop at road cars. From the very beginning, racing was in its DNA. The company entered endurance races in the 1950s, testing their engineering on the toughest circuits in the world. Victories piled up, and with them, Porsche's reputation grew. But it was the 24 hours of Le Mans that cemented Porsche as a motorsport legend. In 1970, the monstrous Porsche 917 finally gave the company its first overall Le Mans win. With a flat 12 engine producing over 600 horsepower and speeds topping 240 miles per hour, the 917 was both terrifying and beautiful. That victory was the start of dominance. Over time, Porsche amassed more wins at Le Mans than any other manufacturer in history, a record that still stands today. Porsche's racing technology filtered directly into their road cars. Innovations like turbocharging, lightweight materials, and aerodynamic designs all began on the track before reaching the street. For Porsche, racing wasn't a side project. It was their laboratory, their proving ground, their soul. By the 1970s and 80s, Porsche was a household name. The 930 Turbo, introduced in 1975, became a legend of its own, with wide fenders, a massive rear spoiler, and explosive turbo power. It was wild, dangerous, and unforgettable. Porsche also experimented with new directions. Front-engined cars like the 924, 944, and 928 brought the brand into new markets. Some enthusiasts dismissed them, but they kept Porsche financially stable during turbulent years. The biggest shock came in 2002 with the launch of the Cayenne SUV. At first, purists cried foul. An SUV with a Porsche badge seemed unthinkable. But the Cayenne became a runaway success, bringing in huge profits and attracting new customers. In truth, it saved the company, giving Porsche the freedom to continue developing the cars enthusiasts loved. Today, Porsche stands as one of the strongest car brands in the world. From the timeless 911 to the mid-engined Cayman and Boxster to the all-electric Taycan, Porsche has shown that it can honor its past while embracing the future. From the shadows of war to the heights of motorsport glory, from the humble 356 to the everlasting 911 to the electric revolution of today. The story of Porsche is one of reinvention, of survival, and of passion that spans generations. Ferdinand Porsche's legacy is complex, shaped by both brilliance and controversy, but out of it emerged a company that created some of the greatest cars ever built. Porsche, not just a brand, but a legend.